This army is for the Republic.
For the Republic!
What's going on, guys? Clone Force 23 here. Alec here. We got my boy Alex. Say what's going on to the people.
What's going on, people?
We have taken a little break from content to focus on kind of our end of season tournaments, and that has since finished. So we are jumping into our set 5 content with the mandatory content creator tier list. You know, we got to throw our tier list out into the, you know, there's not enough, I'm sure, that you can look at, but we're going to be going over the set 5 Legends of the Forest leaders for Star Wars Unlimited and putting them into what we feel like are the appropriate tiers out of these 18 leaders, and kind of going over what they do just briefly and what they're about. So if you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a like and share it with people. Leave a comment if you have any suggestions or opinions. Otherwise, I think we're just going to jump into this guy. I think some of these we might be revisiting at the time together because we forgot about some of them, but some of them we definitely know what's going on with them. So
Definitely have a list to remind myself what some of these things do.
We're gonna be looking off screen a little bit for a couple of these guys. So we're gonna start out with this is just set 5 Chewbacca, which is Ahsoka Tano.
Yep.
So quite literally, like Chewbacca, set 1 Chewbacca, just like a little better, I think, in a way.
Yeah, I think it's certainly better.
Yeah, one more turn earlier deploy, and it's kind of flexible because you can give anything you want Sentinel on her attack. But using the Force to do it, I'm not so super fond of.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it does kind of get past the restriction that Chewie had, where it had to be lower than 3. But I don't know.
The tough trade-off that it gave for that is that it's not when a unit is played. You have to give it to an existing unit, which is like, that's tough. So your turn 1, what is your best case scenario there is, you know, probably end up being a 2/5 Gungi that you have a 5-foot Sentinel the next turn after you attack with it. It's a lot of actions lost, and is that what Gungi's for? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's arguably worse, and it's kind of worse because it's not as fast to activate the Sentinel on the leader side. I think on the flip side, it's okay. But we're going to be talking about some other blue hero, or just blue in general, like combinations that are just going to feel a little bit better than this one.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You're like dedicating this as your blue hero leader when there's like an infinitely better amount of blue hero leaders. I don't think she's like god awful D tier, but I think she's definitely not going past C for me.
Yeah.
The flip is good. The turns before that aren't super great.
5 attack means something for sure. But there's so much less out of it after that.
Yeah, I think C feels like the place for me for Ahsoka Tano. Unfortunately, FFG just doesn't want to give us a really good Ahsoka leader for some reason.
No arguments here.
All right. Anakin Skywalker, our first hero-only leader. So I know I've done some testing with a good chunk of the set 5 leaders, and I think Hero Anakin definitely has some legs.
Mm-hmm.
It, you know, as a lot of these are, it's going to rely upon using the Force. That is absolutely what he wants to do with his deck. But more of a universal leader ability while using the Force versus like a synergy with certain ways a deck is played or with certain units or anything along those lines. It's just, hey, play a villain event, ignore its aspect penalties. So it's a very like, this just improves your deck leader ability versus it's a specific thing or a way to play.
Yeah. And specifically, it's aspect penalties, plural. So, I think the most of the testing that we've talked about is, is this in blue? But you can still play a green villainy event. And there's probably a couple you can think of. Mostly one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, so that gives a lot more. I think the synergy can be found in the flexibility with this leader. And
yeah, for sure.
4-6 on 5 is still pretty darn good.
Still good. Your OB in the hero deck still hits for 6 on 5, which is like, that's what Boba Fett used to do. So
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I've been liking this deck a lot in blue. I haven't explored other colors, but I'm sure there's other ways that you can play him. And to me, I feel like someone's gonna break him. Like I think the breaking is already, you get to play at least 2 extremely powerful villain cards with Force synergy that I'm thinking of, and OB, and then it's like, fill in your deck to meet these cards. This Anakin, I think a lot of people are sleeping on, and I personally have felt like out of most of the set 5 leader, he is one of the most viable. And for me, he would probably be sitting in like A.
Yeah, A is my first instinct. I don't think it's like it's definitely an exploitable ability and someone's gonna crack it, but it's not that obvious like game breaking mechanic that or meta. I don't think it's like meta shifting. I think it's very roguish in nature that you don't know what to expect when you line up against an Anakin. Because like, well, what villainy events are they going to play? And there's a huge, wide range of options. And then the obvious conversation with this one is that it turns on the full potential of the new Anakin unit.
Right.
That you get that either -6 or -3 in 2 different places, which is nuts. So
yeah, I mean, you think of that curve, like an OB on a 4-6 hero leader on 5, your 6 is Anakin unit for -3, and then another -3, and then your 7 is Luke. Like,
yeah.
So effectively, each turn you're dealing out 6, points of minuses to your opponent.
Big way to keep up in this one. So yeah, A seems the way to go for me.
Yeah, excited about our first hero leader actually being really good.
Yes.
That's super cool. Avar Chris, the most beautiful card I've ever seen. This is the first simp card of the set. There might be more. So I wish it was like 1 turn earlier that you could bring her out. Because she's a 9 deploy, and it's combined, with the Force uses and resources. If it was 8, I feel like she would be very good. 9 is it's just that 1 extra. Because the dream is to get her out on 6. That's like what you want to strive to make your deck most consistent to do, to get her out on 6. So you got to do something 3 times in that turn. And it's not like completely unheard of. That's like ETH Koth, Ramp, and Sorcerer's Blast. Boom, there you go. But it's not super consistent. And she's also kind of good in a couple colors. I've been liking red. Obviously, Force throws a card. But Sorcerer's Blast is also a card, which is a 1 cost to use the Force. But the worst thing about her is that if your most consistent time to get her out is on 6 or 7, which is even worse, she's just going to die to Rival's Fall. Like, the presence of how strong blue is in the game right now, I think brings her down quite a lot.
Yeah, and again, it's like the synergy. There's not much additional synergy that's brought by this leader. It's you're rewarded for getting this leader out earlier, which is by having a potential 8-10 on the field. There is Rival Fall's a conversation, and there's also the new Vader units that's coming out. Those are two cards that are being put in every new deck in testing if they can, and just absolutely blows out this leader. So I think it's really tough because, again, it's like it doesn't happen naturally. The way that I've tested it, it's like I'm extending to make this happen and flip and be able to attack for 8. Like, people know when it's coming, which then they get to craft their response to it. So I don't like being put in a position where it's very obvious what I'm going to do next.
Yeah. I do think she's good. I think she's going to be our first B tier leader because against not blue, you get an 8-10 out on 6, you're probably winning the game. I mean, other colors are like totally scared if you do that. So yeah, she is can just pop off. Like, you could just ramp and just take away a game because your 8-10 overwhelm leader on 6 is insane. So I think she'll be around for sure. Obviously with the presence of Force stuff. Also, like, she can always turn on turn 1 Jedi Consular, like, play a big guy. So that's pretty interesting, is she can consistently play a pretty big unit on turn 2 with Consular. So
definitely potential to kind of do the cheat out, the cheat out unit strategy.
Yeah. All right, Barris Ophi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Barris. So for one night, I thought that she was going to be I thought she was being very slept on because I thought of the fact that what if you resupplied and then got a 4/7 on 5, which is Boba Fett, and then your OBs costed 1 less, or your Palps returns, or playing Timely Intervention and Sheehan Flurry for free, and then ambushing in a 7-cost Force unit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that yellow-green villain got unbelievably bad turn 1 Force units.
Really bad.
So bad. Like, it's Kylo, the villain only Kylo, which is the best one, and then the 1 cost 1/3 unit, and then the vanilla 1/4 like street urchin. It's bad. It's so bad all around. So you're kind of forced into playing the 25 HP green base, which is so scary into aggro. To have a 25 base that doesn't even impact like the board at all. It's just giving you the Force 3 times.
Yeah, and it's like you're hoping to race for that exact play you described. If you're not in a position to do that, it's like,
Yeah. I mean, 4/7 on 6 is definitely not bad, but again, she is held back by her colors right now, and to me, I just think she'll be explored, but I don't think she's gonna make it anywhere.
I feel like it's a C tier right now for me. But like, the moment a set or two comes out with some of those turn 1 play options, it's gonna shoot to A.
It could shoot up, for sure. Yeah, like, I'm imagining playing a Force guy, tacking, like, having the resupply OB stuff, and then it could definitely spiral super super hard. But C, I think, is where
And it's got the
she will be for me as well.
and it's got the Jedi tag in villainy, which is interesting.
That is also what wanted, like, imagine if we got an upgrade for Boba Fett that was like General's Blade, where you could cheat out. It's like Boba Fett in a way, like you're cheating resources on the flip turn.
Yeah.
But again, like her 3 cost force units aren't even bad. It's just the 2s, and that's like, I feel like you need a turn 1.
if you're playing with like force synergy, then you need a solid turn 1 that's going to get that attack in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just behind.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. She's just kind of held back by everything right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Probably my biggest disappointment of the set is Cal
man.
Kestis. My boy.
Ugh.
They are so afraid to make a 4-cost leader strong again after Sabine. And I realized he was probably made it like already when Sabine existed, but it's Cal Kestis. Like, this is our first video game character.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just,
I wanted it to be at least somewhat like okay.
mm-hmm.
He's just bad. He's so bad. He's so awful.
Why is it wrong? Like, why do they get to choose? Why do they get to choose the unit they exhaust?
You have to work, like, think of the first time you can use that ability. You have to, first of all, play a guy on turn 1. Second of all, gain the force. At that point, they probably have attacked with their unit as well. Which means the first time you can probably use his ability is on turn 3. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, they get to pick one of their possibly 3 units and not attack with it.
Yeah, in the 3-4 stat line, the 4 health is a tough one for a leader.
Yeah.
It's just, it's gonna get deleted by way too much.
Anything nowadays, like,
it's a fragile.
He's bad. He's unfortunately my first addition to D for me. It's just so much is going against him.
I get like the whole idea of like, oh, I'm gonna exhaust and be the tempo leader. It's just like, but you don't get to.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's too slow. It's not strong enough, and you're just gonna get blown out by a different unit. The old Octobogdo is gonna eat them up.
Yeah, more accurate.
Exactly.
All right, got them all.
I'm so disappointed. Another mall leader that is just not up to par, in my opinion.
I think this is worse than the mall we already have.
Yeah, it's got 1 less attack. It doesn't have any overwhelm.
Yeah, it has 1 less attack, no overwhelm, and his ability is like okay, but weird. It just doesn't make sense. It's just kind of an odd ability, like ping a unit, ping another unit. What are you trying to do? Like, you can ping your laser techs, but did you even struggle to do that in Old Mall? Like, you didn't necessarily need that to happen.
Yeah, like, are you... Like, I don't know, was like FFG like looking at like some of like the battle math here, and it was like always a difference of 1, and the idea was that this leader could come in and like clean up and be that little extra push to gain advantage, maybe, but I don't know if they're playing the way that everyone else is right now.
Yeah. To me, again, I just think the other mall leader is infinitely better than this one. I don't see a reason to use this one over the...
You're either activating grit units or cleaning up like droid tokens and TIE tokens, which not terrible if you're playing only Vader Yellow, but that's not a reality.
Right. Yeah, not a huge fan of him. I think he also is joining Cal and D for me.
Fair enough.
All right. Darth Revan, our second video game guy in the game so far, I think. He's a video game guy, right?
Yeah, from KOTOR.
Yeah. So a villain-only leader, our first villain-only leader. Comparatively to Anakin, his leader ability is definitely not as universal.
No.
It's different because you don't have to use the Force, which is nice. It doesn't require you to run a Force base, so your options are actually much more wide than hero-only Anakin. But his ability is requiring you to be a pretty aggressive deck into other units, and it's really hard to do that with one color. I feel like you're really kind of locked into yellow to get all the ambush units and hope to kind of snowball from there. I don't think he's bad, though. I definitely think he's a little underexplored. I do think 3/6 on 5 restore one random. Like, that is so random. I think it has something to do with his lore, but I'm not sure. But I just think that is so odd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Yeah, Restore 1 is very rare for, like, this. I don't know, it just doesn't fit into it. Yeah, like you said. Yeah, I mean, it's like if you can find the deck that lines us up, like you think about being able to ambush, so people are drawn to like ECL and green, like to be able to ambush and then get that experience token to that unit. Like potentially it's there, but like a lot of the green ambush right now is not the strongest. There's that like new like 2/4 restore 2. Callus could be interesting. To be able to like defeat a unique unit and draw and get an experience token. Doesn't seem crazy, but
yeah,
the ambush can drop off pretty hard, and you're not capitalizing on anything after that.
I also just think like 3/6 on 5. Like, let's say your first couple turns don't go as planned, and you're like your leader flip's supposed to be crazy, and it's just a 3/6 restore 1.
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
It's not doing anything else, so it feels like it's gonna need to be like a cool, like upgrade heavy, like upgrade reliant, and it's like you know, Revan's lightsaber is interesting. I know Malik's got some synergy with this because I think it can ready when played, but it's just I don't know. It's
weird.
It feels combo-y, which combo decks right now seem super fragile in the meta. So you know, it's like a C for me.
Yeah,
like I think it's a little better than like Ahsoka and Barriss, but I don't think it's gonna go over any build that's consistent.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, Grand Inquisitor, which is just hero Jin or villain Jin.
Ugh.
But so much worse.
Yeah,
I don't know
you have to use the Force.
Yeah, you have to use the Force. I don't know what's going on with this like carbon copy set 1 leader. Make them different set, but maybe because of rotation. I don't know. He's just going in D. Like, Jin has never risen above that, so he will not ever.
It can't.
Yeah. Might be the worst leader of the set. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I don't even have much more to say. Like, weird color, like yellow villain too for him.
Yeah, it's, you know, there's so many other good yellow villain options if you're in that route. Not impactful. Again, like if you've done nothing, this is a 3/5 flipping on 5. Let's like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
Enough said.
Yep. All right, Kanan Jarrus, the Blind Jedi.
Oh yeah.
I think Kanan is everything that anyone who played Hera wants to be. um,
Oh yeah.
so I'm a big fan of Kanan. I'm a big fan of how Hera played, even though she has been that good. But I actually think Kanan's got some gas. Like you can do some crazy stuff. I mean, we think of Kira, right, which is kind of the same ability. You can shield a unit by paying 1, dealing 2 damage to it. And Kanan's is just it has to be a creature or a specter. And it is not very hard to make almost your entire cost curve specter creature.
Yep.
Now, there's plenty of things that you can fill in your deck. And they are not bad units either, is the thing. Like, you are putting very strong units in your deck. He is, I think, deceptively really strong. And he's can be kind of in a lot of colors, which is great. I've personally been liking ECL with them and just having like a really explosive flip turn, doing some crazy stuff. The new Ghost goes crazy with Kanan because play it on 6, shield it, and then Kanan gets Sentinel, and he's a 5/8 shielded Sentinel. Like you can do some crazy lines, with Kanan.
Yeah.
Really strong blue hero, like a good color, super good color. So yeah, Kanan to me, he is at least B. I would probably put him in A behind. I think he's got as much game as Anakin for sure.
That's a fair argument. I think there's a lot of flexibility there. I mean, if you're building your curve like you explained, like you are more than likely flipping with a 5/7 shielded on 6. Like that's a problem for a lot of decks.
Yeah, strong. Then you give him a lightsaber.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna
big damage.
That's gonna it's gonna wipe out set 3 Anakin and still hang about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's strong.
I think they're strong there. I've played a lot of red because I like the force throw, and there's some interesting early creatures with that, but that's can be a little fragile. I think green's pretty explosive, like you said.
Yeah. I think it's just still the boba, like resupply, get your leader out a turn early, and it's a crazy turn. Like
Yep.
that mid range kind of plan. So yeah, it could be strong. My boy Kit Fisto. So I don't know. I heard a lot of talk about this guy, and it feels like he was meant to do great things, but he might be held back by a lot of stuff. So in a funnel, he's cracked. Like a daring raid as a leader ability, you don't have to use the force.
Yeah.
Your buff is passive on your leader side. There just need Jedis. There's a abundance of Jedi units. It's not hard to make the deck, but he's just so fragile. It is so fragile to make sure all of those units are on the board to make him a very strong flip turn.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, any decent mid range or control player is going to be able to keep your unit count down.
Yeah,
and then it almost kind of leaves your leader hostage because you wait to flip to have it do something. Because flipping it as a 2 to 3/6, you might be like, ugh,
yeah,
rather hold it off for something else. Like in a racing conversation, maybe like you're playing against a traditional Sabine or something like that. You might have the right amount of gas to just go off for somebody that's leaving your units alone. But again, it's a leader that makes very clear what you as the player are trying to do.
Yeah.
So that me as the opponent will look at that and go, oh, well, you lose your edge when you don't have units, so I'm going to control the board.
Right. Yeah, I think he's like B for me. He's kind of like a VAR in like the same play style.
Yeah, I think the play style and vulnerability just about match that, so I'm okay. I think that's fair.
All right, big boy Kylo Ren. Graduated from a 4-cost unit, 4-cost leader to a 7-cost leader.
Yeah.
I don't play a lot of blue villain, but I do think this is a very cool way to play Vu, which is this is kind of like what the Vader deck always, the blue Vader deck from like set 1 and 2, where it's just control, leader flip, giant monster. And like that's what Kylo is your leader you have to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely makes it bigger. You have to deal with it that way. Yeah, it's when it's an interesting way to play with blue-green villainy, but in that color spectrum, it's like that's not the way you play if you want to win.
Right.
So it becomes that battle. Like again, you got what's gonna be your composition of cards? How many upgrades are you gonna have to play for this to make sense? Like obviously you're handcrafting a bit by being able to take extra upgrades and discard them and draw something else to play for the turn. But if you're playing too many, you might just draw into another upgrade. So
yeah,
the chances there of like not having consistency is tough for me. And it's like, okay, what are the optimal upgrades that you're going to want to put on this? And I think when you're trying to build that monster the Voltron that can't get broken, I think you run into too many colors to make that happen. Like Shattered Intentions is something that everyone wants to put on this because it's like, all right, I can't mess with it. Okay, but that didn't increase my body anymore. So then it's like, oh, well, there's ways you can control the board by playing the Legal Authority, and you're capturing things and getting a better like toughness. You can put lightsabers on it, but you're still paying cost for all of that.
Yeah.
And this is on 7, so what's like the optimal like 7 cost upgrade?
Yeah, I think the dream would have to be like Shadow Intentions, Electro Staff, Kylo's lightsabers. I think is like what the.
Yeah.
You just have a big guy that can tank a lot. You have a big Sentinel that can tank a lot. He can't be defeated and he can't be exhausted. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's he kind of suffers from he almost wants to be in green to use Vault. Mm-hmm. Like your 10 extra cards can be your 10 upgrades. Makes sense. And you can dig through the deck. Great. But why not play Kira? or even Krennic at that. There are definitely different things you could be doing. And then you don't get Shadowed Intention too, so yeah, I think he will be around for sure. I just don't. He kind of suffers from like there's better blue villains. But I definitely think he's not bad at all. I think I'd probably put the end of B at this point.
Yeah, B seems fair. Another leader, if they're not dedicating into yellow and going with Shadowed Intentions, another leader that's just going to get Rivals Fall and your strategy's out the window.
Yep. All right, Morgan Elspeth.
This is one I have to
remember what she does. Yeah.
Choose a friendly unit that attacked This phase, play a unit from your hand that shares a keyword with the chosen unit. It costs 1 less. That's their leader side. Flips on 5, 3/6. Unit ability is the same thing. And that's it.
In theory, it feels like this would be a good ability, but I feel like it's just really weird.
What's the keyword that you're dedicating here?
Yeah, because it has to be the same keyword. If it just said it had to have a keyword, that might be pretty good. But the fact that it has to be the same keyword, like, I'm sure there are plenty of Sentinels. I'm sure that's what it's got to be, right? I mean, I think Sentinel is probably the one we have the most number. And your Sentinels aren't real chunky guys to be attacking with.
Mm-hmm.
She just seems like, in theory, ramping is good. For 1 less, though, like, you think of all the ramp out units, that cheat out units, it's all like at least 2 or less, 2 discount or more. So the fact that it's only 1 less and it requires you to have it with that unit,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think there's just a lot of that going for me that would make me think that she's a little bit lackluster. I don't think she's like off, but she'd probably be in like the C tier for me.
Yeah, seems fine. Like, I think its colors will carry it the most for people who try to construct it.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, Sentinel, Ambush, Overwhelm. I think those are the first ones that would be in like my brain as to what I would try to create synergy for.
Yeah.
But it's trying to come out a turn earlier, acting like Han a little bit, but very limited in its scope. So,
right. All right, we got my boy Obi-Wan Kenobi, redemption for set 3 Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
this leader's cracked. This leader is very strong.
This is an S tier conversation.
This is an S tier. This is the first of maybe 2 S tier conversations for this set.
Mm-hmm.
So Obi-Wan Kenobi, one of the most strong use the Force ability out of all the leaders for this set. And you're just putting it on something that does not have an experience token. 5 flip, really strong. Jedi, Force, super good traits. And just universal XP buff just to anything that doesn't have one.
Yeah.
So no, this is like, you got to compare it to Rey, right? That's what we have to compare it to. And he also kind of wants to be in Rey's colors. That's what most people have been playing him in, is with the Force space. That's what I've been playing him, is the blue Force space. And it's strong. Like, it is most definitely there. And I think the other thing that he does better than Rey in those colors is it doesn't sink you into this, my units have to be 2 cost power or less for my leader ability to work. And it also doesn't cost anything. So yeah, he's up there. I do think 3/6 on 5 is like, why? Like, he can't even buff himself. Did he have to be 3/6? He could have been 4/6, and I think it would be fine. But I think the big thing about Obi-Wan is he can proc General's Blade with almost all of the units that he's playing. That is very strong. That's like Boba's armor vibes on a 5-cost leader. Is a strong that actually has it. So, I think my boy Obi-Wan, he's the first S tier edition.
Yeah, I mean, just overall great ability. It's going to be seen throughout the entire like game that you're playing with it. It's not something that happens earlier or happens later. It's like if I've got the force to spare, I'm buffing a unit. And I'm always attacking because I've got the force base with me. You know, there's some conversations about the, you know, I've seen some iterations with the 25 HP base, I think it is, or whichever one that's like it's based on toughness if you get the force at the regroup.
Yep.
I've seen some folks play with that and be able to buff a little bit timelier, which can be nice. But the health is a tough conversation. But either way, you're seeing a very massive payoff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that is definitely a way to play it too. Like it is not unviable to use the 25 rare base for blue.
Yeah, I mean you've got
it just depends on what you think you want to be comfortable using as far as your health.
Yeah, I mean, and you've got the early, you got the early Yaddle now that's gonna turn on restore for like all of those units you're putting out.
Yeah,
I mean that could be, like the best time I've had with that is like Yaddle into Yoda into something else like Kanan, and just restoring an insane amount before Obi-Wan even flips, and then I've buffed them all. And then by the time
honestly, the only reason I think the only thing keeping me in the 28 base is the fact that you can loop the Shirut unit, the Sentinel,
it's
multiple times.
Yeah, that's super huge to be able to do that.
If that card was a leader, he'd be tier 0. He wouldn't even be on this tier list. That card's insane.
Yeah, Shroud is pretty crazy. But yeah, that's what make that you gotta be on the 28 base if you're doing that. So yeah, S tier either way.
All right, Qui-Gon Jinn. The first leader that I think was like so overhyped. And I kind of thought this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, is he going to be that good with that ability? Like, I think he's a trap. I don't think he's as insane as being made out to be.
Yeah, I mean, he feels like a B tier boy to me. Like like great lines, great opportunities, but I don't think it's going to be as strong as some of the other things you'll see.
Yeah. I mean, if you draw sneak attack, probably the best deck, but draw your sneak attack. That's it.
You like do that. And then
other than that, you're like not usually using Qui-Gon's ability until more resource turn.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's weird. Again, if you draw sneak attack, amazing. That can just snowball the rest of the game if that happens.
Yep.
But yeah, other than that, it gets tough. But 4/7 on 6, really good stats.
Yeah.
Doesn't require you to use the force. It's just on attack. So if you can get to that flip turn, you can certainly start doing crazy loops, in all colors. So, but yeah, as far as it's just those first couple turns that can just be playing on curve, not really doing anything, because you're gonna bounce your 3 cost that you played to play another 2 cost. That doesn't seem efficient.
No.
So yeah, I think he's a little overhyped on the brokenness right now, but can certainly see some crazy stuff someone's gonna figure out how to do, and then he'll be S tier. Who knows? Yeah, I think he sits pretty comfortably in B for me.
For now, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Raid.
Yeah. I get that. I get the art. I hear when people say, well, we got to have leaders per draft. Who's drafting this?
Right.
This is the leader that you pick up when you draft like too many red hero cards and you have no other red hero to play. Like
Yeah.
like if FFG is like designing based off of that, okay, you got me there, Chief. But this is just ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
you deal one damage to a unit.
If you play a force event, which like how many are there even? I don't think there's a lot.
And non-unit force. So technically upgrades are fine. You get to ping off your upgrades.
True.
But again, it's just like, what is that ping one doing for you that is so like hyper impactful? Like the set one Vader ping was not insane. Like you had to deal one to base too, which was like, okay, you're chipping away at the base as well, and you're pinging shields. Like that's like the value of ping is shields.
Right.
And it's like shields are either timed better or they're not as around. I don't know about you, but like some blues do, like Kira does, but like it's not like this, like, oh, I need to figure out shields. Like I'm in this like set one Luke meta. Like
and one is so like lackluster, like you said. Just the way that this game works with cards that deal damage, like one is like nothing. Like you're not doing much with one damage other than pinging off shields. And 7 is crazy for a red hero leader.
Yeah.
That's like the most anti-synergistic for red hero. And is making your leader come out on 7 resources.
And then and let's talk about the flip. Like you get one mulligan, and then you get a worse mulligan at 7 if you are playing this leader. Like, I'm gonna dump my hand at 7, which is probably gonna be more than 2 cards, and then just draw 2.
Yeah, no, she's D for me. It's just
tough, unplayable for me.
Not good. It's almost like she's meant to be a Twin Sons leader with Kyle, but you just can't even do that. So
yeah, it's like it's literally that. But then that's a huge like, oh, okay, I flipped my Kylo on 4. Kylo's got to stick around for 3 more turns.
Yeah,
in a Twin Sons format, like, ugh.
Yeah. All right, Big Daddy Snoke.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably, it feels like a blend of like Krennic and Palpatine, like that vibe of like once those are rotated, like people who like that play style are probably gonna play Snoke.
Yeah, he's kind of like the villain Rey. Like, I don't even want to call it a better Tarkin, because Tarkin was just inexperience. But this is just the biggest guy. You just keep making it bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's just like asking to get, like, my big guy, I'm just continually making him bigger. He's just going to get hit with like removal or get. It's just kind of odd to word it that way.
With all signs pointing us to like a pretty blue heavy meta in set 5, like this one's not it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if he's just as bad as the bottom, because he is a 4/7 on 6, which is strong, in green villain, which is really strong. But yeah, I think he's like C for. That's where I'd throw him. Yeah, definitely not anything above there.
Yeah, C seems like the fair number or fair letter, because it's just not good enough.
Yeah. All right, Goth Mommy Talzin, the other simp.
Here's where I'm simping. Yeah, this one surprised me. Like I read it first and I was like, okay, and then I saw the path with like red, and I was like, wait.
Yeah, this leader's insane. This is like better than Obi-Wan insane.
Yeah,
she's definitely like the S tier of the set. This is like a leader that I think will have the most immediate impact on a meta out of any of the past sets we've had. Like, she's going to go right in and be very strong and be very high up there in the I think.
Yeah, and we were just talking about how leaders who just do like one damage isn't impactful, but the way that Mother Talzin like synergizes with the other Night Sister cards to like debuff makes it way better.
Yeah, and one damage versus -1/-1 is very different.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
that enables a ton of value trades. It's very consistent to get that, and then her plethora of cards that also do that.
Yeah, her
Do all.
the 4/4 on 4 that does -3/-3 is insane.
Yeah, that is crazy. Representing a -4/-4 on 4 is nuts.
Yeah, and then her coming out on 5 as a 3/7, and then on attack -1/-1, just she can value trade herself or set up a value kill somewhere. It's nuts. And then it's got the force synergy with all the Night Sisters have force as well, so we get to see a lot of cool force stuff. Force throw is a card, and then there's another card that I don't know if we're talking about just yet. Maybe save it for the deck tech video, but it's cracked.
Yeah, there's a card that straight up just has not been used in 4 sets and is now a card that I would possibly want to be on the list. So, yeah. Very strong. 3/7 on 5. The God stat lines since Boba's been gone, we got Quinn on that. It is very strong. Django had it very strong to remove that. And with nothing else on that turn, you have her leader ability flip, and then you have her -1, which means she represents effective 5 damage that can go into something, or 5 points of, toughness being taken away from it while debuffing that unit, which means she's taking less damage. And again, that's with no other cards being played that turn. She is very strong, a very strong lead, and a very different play style than what we've had. Like, we had a lot of experience giving and shield giving. We haven't had a lot of debuff your guys, and now we do, and it is scary. The Night Sisters they're coming into this game swinging. So
this one is spoilers, probably going to be my day one sleeve up because it's crazy.
Yeah. All right, we've come to the last, which is the third sister. Was a little high on her before testing. She was like, I think, one of the first got removed after Qui-Gon and Maul. It just hasn't felt like there. Granted, I haven't done a ton of testing with her. I feel like it seems like it would be strong, but 4 toughness on 5. I think this is again a leader that suffers from extremely blue meta. Like, a lot of these decks, in fact, almost every deck in S to B tier is paired with or is a leader. So that, if that's not of how strong blue is right now, that should show you. I think her leader ability and her flip are strong, but 4 toughness on a 5 is just giving your opponent even more chance to, have a open fire or a take or a plethora of events that could remove her, without having to attack her.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, Hidden doesn't seem to have the high impact or timing that, like, it seems like it should. Like, okay, something comes out and it's hidden every turn. It's like, okay, well, you'll hide this one, but then the one that hit last turn is the one I'll take care of first before it attacks.
Yeah.
Like, timing does not seem great with hidden right now. Like, especially since hidden only says it can't be attacked if it was played that turn. It's like, okay, I can still remove it with a removal spell, which if we're talking heavy blue coming into this set, like, this one's going to have no chance.
Yeah.
So like, later metas could get better, sure, but like, I'm wobbling between D and C on this one. Maybe
yeah,
C.
I think I'd probably put her at C. But yeah, definitely not like high C.
Not impressive by any means.
Yeah, it's just hard. Like, she kind of wants to be an aggro, but it's a tough world, and that doesn't really exist right now, other than like Vader Yellow, which is just all ships. So
yeah, it's not. Yeah, it wants to be aggro, but in all the wrong implementations.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But
yeah, looking at it, I think that I'm pretty comfortable and think that makes sense for the set after playing it for a couple weeks. It seems weird to see only Anakin in it, but I think that is correct. That's what I'm feeling, at least.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like, with a new set becomes a new meta, and like introducing potentially four leaders into this meta, that's a pretty impactful change.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, obviously the first month or so, you're going to see everybody playing every single leader here with every iteration and color, and you'll see somebody that will invent the best form of Snoke or Morgan Elsbeth or Avar Chris, but like, there's also not a lot of time before Worlds, so people might not be messing around.
Right, yeah.
You might just see a bunch of Talzins and Obi-Wans, and if they're not up to snuff, then people will just go back to what they do. And there's a lot of other leaders, for previous sets that are getting some pretty decent buffs or help. So we'll just see what happens. But
we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think this is nice to start with, at least to have an idea of what we think is strong. And if you have any opinions on this, or you think so, let us know what you think. Give us kind of your rundown. But if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave us a like. We are hopefully still close to 200.
Hopefully.
But any help is greatly appreciated. Starting our set. Expect a whole bunch of videos. Other than that, Clone Force 23. Gonna peace out.
Peace out.
Grand Army of the Republic when deployed. Galactic warfare you cannot avoid. Go ahead, be a battle droid. Face off against my clone troopers and get destroyed. Space tech, spaceports, TCG, card sports, of course. Till my voice goes hoarse. Welcome, decking with the strategy, the energy. It's Clone Force 23.